gentlemen, welcome. Had a little bit of technical difficulty starting at first. One of my cameras was messed up. Okay, so as you can see from the title today, I'm going to be talking about the death of Kevin Samuels. Let me just preface this by saying I did not know that man personally. I have never been on one of his lives. I don't know anything about his personal life, not even his messages, but I've been watching videos of people talking about him, some people talking really bad about him. And I just wanted to come in and add some balance and some context. So let me just say that and let me begin. So there's some people that are talking really bad about him, right? The way they put it is as if Kevin Samuels was like the king of the bottomless pit, right? He's the worst person ever. He's responsible for everything that's wrong in the Black community. And I don't think, that's being kind of hypocritical, in my opinion, because in my opinion, there's bigger issues that are not being touched on enough to bring to light the problems in the so-called Black community. And I think laying the blame at his feet is not only doing a disservice to the so-called Black community, but you're you're just dealing with baseline stuff. You're not pulling back, you know, the cover or the curtain and revealing what the issues are. People talk about he was a misogynist, he was a minister of Satan, all these different things. And my take is very different, okay? I don't know who said he's a Christian man, but I've heard people say that he has said that. I cannot say yay or nay to that because, like I said, I don't know this man personally. I have not watched his material, apart from things that other people have like taken from him, clips from him, and say, well, he said this and Kevin Samuels said that. So in that way, yeah. But to be on a live or go to one of his shows and listen to it, all the things that he talks about, never done that. So in bits and pieces, yeah, I've heard some of the things he's had to say. Telling women that they're whatever number, between 1 and 10. And if they say like a high number, then he'll say that such and such is whatever high number, whatever celebrity or whatever. And then he would say, well, you think you're this person. And then the woman would have to counter and say, well, no, but all this, like, all of that is fluff. That's entertainment and that's nonsense. As far as I'm concerned, if you're a person looking for validation from a dating coach, you have bigger problems, right? Like if you're looking for a person of notoriety to tell you who you are, then you have a big problem, right? You have a pretty big problem because the thing about self-esteem, it's self-esteem, right? It's comes from within you. You know what I mean? You take care of yourself, you make yourself presentable, et cetera, et cetera. You overweight, you take care of yourself, you go to the gym, you work out. Um, but people have a lot of bad things to say, and I'm like, come on, man. Dude was like 56, 57, I don't know, 56, 57, or 58 years old, one of those, right? Just placing him at that age, what year was Roe versus Wade? 73, I think. So he would have been in the neighborhood of 6, 7, 8 years old. How is he responsible for the whoredoms that came from Roe versus Wade? People having abortions just left, right, and center. That destroyed families. That gave women a lot of liberation to be feminists. What about putting women in the workplace? Was he responsible for that too? Did he have a hand in making sure that women left their homes to be in the workplace with men and have their kids placed in school as property, so-called, of the state? What about the Women's Voting Act? When was that? 1920 or something, right? So unless he's like over a century and some odd years old, he had nothing to do with those things. See, there are a lot of things that have compiled and compounded over the years to have us where we are now. And the fact that feminism at its core is mostly anti man from the people that lead it. It's not really pro woman, putting women in the forefront, accepting them for their roles, etc. No, it's women wanting to be over men, and that's not your position. Plain and simple, that's not your position. It's God, man, woman. Okay, none of us are perfect, but there has to be order, right? There has to be structure. You know what I'm saying? You don't have order, then what do you have? Disorder. And I think the people that are talking negatively about him, yeah, some of the things they might say are true, because I have heard that he was into getting high-priced escort girls or whatever. And I mean, obviously, if he did claim to be a Christian, then he should not have been engaging in those acts. But as I just said, none of us are perfect. Everybody, even the so-called people that are coming on here, I don't care what you are, Hebrew, Israelite, black, white, whatever. We all as individuals wearing this suit of flesh, we all have our flaws, right? Ever since the fall, I don't care how perfect you think you are, you're not. I don't care how much you think you don't know everything, right? We all have our flaws. Now, this man been famous for all of what, 2 years? And people have so much smoke for him. Oh yeah, he's responsible for this because he had a big platform on YouTube. So where's your smoke for people like Oprah? Oprah said, there's many ways to God. Where's your smoke for her? What about where's your smoke for Obese? This is no longer a Christian nation. Where's your smoke for him? What about Messy Jesse? Slickback Al? Where's your smoke for them? Right? Been leading all these protests and for how long now? Ain't got us nowhere. Where's your smoke for them? You know what I mean? Like it's ridiculous at this point. Like we've had a few leaders. Okay, they've been taken out. Um, some of them were very promising. Um, Unfortunately, they were taken out. So if a guy is a self-proclaimed dating coach and ad- life life advice coach or whatever it was that he does, fashion coach and stuff like that, is this the person that you really want to put your life and your future in? You know what I mean? And as I said, man, you cannot, just because somebody has some level of notoriety, you cannot have this person have like complete control of your life. It's crazy, and that's what people are trying to put forth. Like this man had so much power, like, like he's what's one of those characters, like these overpowered characters in like comics and stuff. Like just think of any overpowered character, like some type of destroyer of worlds, Galactus. That's what I'm thinking about. Like Kevin Samuels was literally a black Galactus. That's what people are painting him as. And I don't think that is fair or accurate. As I said, you think about feminism, its beginnings, where it came from, the different things that have been put in place to get women in position. You get women in the working place. Next thing you know, they're sleeping with the manager, they're sleeping with the supervisor, they're sleeping with the director. Excuse me, next thing you know, they have a position. It happens. I'm pretty sure people have seen it happen right before their eyes. It's one of those situations like you're in a workplace, right? Been there a few years. Somebody new comes in. They tell you, listen, you have to train this person. You train this person. Okay, training's done. Next thing you know, in the blink of an eye, this person has a better position than you and getting paid more than you, but you're the one who trained them. How's that even happen? How do you get looked over for a spot that obviously you're qualified for because the person that got that spot was trained by you, but you didn't get it? You see what I'm saying? And these things happen. But I would like people to put things in perspective. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, everybody has their issues. I'm sure he had his issues as well. And from what I'm hearing about um, this so-called person that was with him, she was supposed to be a nurse, but then she's on the call panicking like has nothing to do. I've worked in healthcare for years, and I'll be honest with you, nurses are usually at the forefront of healthcare, right? Overnight, there's more nurses on the floor than doctors. Um, Generally, they are the ones that are closest to the patients, while the doctors are on rotation, right? Even attendants or whatever, they check on each one for a few minutes and they're gone. Nurses are on the floor dealing with these patients 24/7. I mean, I'm not saying that they're there 24 hours a day, but they're stationed on these floors and their interaction with the patient are constant. So if the patient, saying all that to say this, if the patient codes, they have to know what to do while the physician is paged, for whatever situation that it is. So the nurses will be the first ones to go to the patient and try to resuscitate them or whatever the case is. So this person should have known what to do. Didn't sound like they knew what to do. Sound like they were panicking. Um, I don't know. Anytime somebody of notoriety dies, I'm always leery about the whole story and the supporting cast of characters that are either there or not there conveniently when they pass away, especially when there's some type of heart attack, drugs, things like that. Because to me, once you gain a certain amount of, should I say wealth or money? I guess money. Just say money, not necessarily wealth. Once you gain a certain amount of money, you have access to better healthcare than the average person who is probably not making as much as you. You can go see a private physician at your leisure. You don't have to be in some clinic waiting with 50, 60 other patients, right? You go see this highfalutin physician or whatever for whatever premium that you pay, and you get to see this person. So, in my world, right, if I was making like bricks of cash every month, I would have a pretty good physician. I would have, especially in your 50s, you have to get a physical, you have to watch your diet, things like that. He did not look like he was out of shape. So, I don't know. To me, it's sketchy. But to run to the internet and call this man all kinds of things like, I know some of y'all got people in y'all family that's probably shady, pimps, prostitutes, junkies, all types of people. You wouldn't put their information out there and say, oh, well, this person destroyed my family because, they're using drugs and you grew up around them using drugs. You got some Pookies and Ray Rays in your family. You know what I mean? You got a sister, auntie that don't do shit for their kids. You're not going to put them on Front Street, and this is the problem. As black people, we don't hold those closest to us accountable, but as soon as somebody of notoriety comes along, oh, we put that person on a pedestal and say, yeah, if this person don't do this, then, they're the cause of all these things. No, sometimes you got to take personal responsibility. Me, as A man, there's, I could probably count on one hand the people or men, should I say, who I would love to sit down and have a conversation with. Um, Two of them are movie directors. Um, no, three of them movie directors because I like film. So Antoine Fuqua, Clint Eastwood, and what's his face, English chap, Guy Ritchie. The other two are like political leaders. But that's just it. And it's not because of any like, oh, great admiration of their advice. And no, I'm interested in something that they do. I appreciate their art, their craft. And I would just like to know, like, how, when they're putting something together, how do the ideas come to them for the structure of their film? And, do they pick the actors that they want in the movie, or do they let it go by casting? Because it always seems like they have the perfect cast of characters for whatever it is, whatever project it is that they're working on. So that's just something that interests me. That's why I mentioned it. But yeah, I don't think it's fair all the smoke that he's getting. You know what I mean? He was a flawed man, like all of us are. You know, um, I don't think he's responsible for, you know, women being on OnlyFans and, you know, making contracts on Instagram to go overseas and do all sorts of acts with men for money. Yeah, maybe he was taking part in it, but how do you hold him responsible? If you come out and you say like, "Yeah, I'm a pastor, I'm a Christian," and then you lead your flock astray, yeah, that's one thing. But you come on and say you're a dating advice coach or whatever title he uses, come on, man. That's entertainment. You know what I'm saying? That's you're not talking about any religious kind of connotations here where this man was supposed to be held up like some type of holy figure and people looking up to him. Yeah, he had a big platform. True. I heard he had like 1.5 million subscribers or something like that. So yeah, that's pretty big. I mean, considering the world has billions, yeah, not so much, but okay. Yeah, still had a decent sized platform. Reached a lot of people, but there have been other people with humongous platforms that have reached billions and said some of the most audacious things. Nobody calls them out on it. Nobody has said nothing. Very few people have came out and mentioned what I mentioned about Obese and Oprah, and there's others. Even Elon Musk. Um, I think he recently said something about he wouldn't mind going to hell because all the people, like all the famous people will be there, something like that, or people he knows will be there. Like, come on, man. Come on. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. I'm not gonna belabor the point. If it was your family member that passed away, you wouldn't want people, coming out here talking about pissing on their graves and, sea walking on their caskets and all this stuff. Like, what I mean? At the end of the day, let the dead bury the dead. But for you to like drag this man after he died, like it's unnecessary. You know what I'm saying? The Most High gonna deal with him how he see fit. You know what I mean? Everybody gonna face their own judgment. That's just a fact. You know what I mean? As long as you're born, there will surely come a day that you die and there will be judgment. Just keep that in mind.